Just disappear. I don't care. That's what Emily, my daughter, said to me as if it were the last thing she'd ever say to me. I stood in the middle of the hallway, my key still in my hand, the grocery bag hanging off my wrist. For a second I didn't breathe. Not because I was shocked, not anymore. I'd stopped being shocked weeks ago. Maybe months. What struck me wasn't the words. It was how easy they came out of her mouth. Like she'd been waiting to say it. Like she'd been rehearsing. I didn't respond. I didn't ask her why. I didn't beg her to take it back or explain herself. I just turned. I left the groceries by the door. I left the dishes in the sink. I left the air stale with whatever argument we hadn't had yet. And I picked up my bag. I didn't pack a suitcase. I didn't grab an overnight. Just the essentials, my purse, my phone, charger, wallet, keys. No clothes. No plan. Just the kind of silence that comes after you've been told very clearly you're no longer wanted. She stood there, arms crossed, leaning against the wall like she'd just won. Like she had cut something out of her life that had been weighing her down. But what she didn't realize, what she still doesn't, is that I wasn't leaving because I was defeated. I was leaving because I was done. I didn't slam the door. I didn't even shut it hard. Just pulled it closed behind me until it clicked. The sound was soft, final, almost respectful. Like it understood this wasn't a break, this was an end. And the strangest thing? For the first time in years I felt light. Like I'd been carrying a storm in my chest and finally stepped outside of it. Like I'd been holding my breath for so long that I forgot what it felt like to inhale without fear. I didn't cry. I didn't look back. I didn't feel guilty. Because when your own daughter looks you dead in the eyes and tells you to disappear, with zero hesitation, zero remorse, that's not a moment of pain. That's a moment of clarity. So no, I didn't leave because I was weak. I left because, finally, I was strong enough to let go. It started 3 months ago. At first, it was harmless, or at least it looked that way. Emily had always been curious, a little restless. She wanted more from life, and I admired that in her. But then she started watching those videos. They were everywhere: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram Reels with flashy cuts and slick audio. A man in a suit standing in front of rented sports cars talking about freedom and breaking the system. Fast-talking, sharp-jawed, and confident in a way only liars can be. He called himself a real estate mentor. Said he used to be broke just like his viewers. Now he was living proof that the path to wealth was mindset and movement. Every video ended the same way: if your family doesn't support your hustle, they're the enemy. Emily ate it up like gospel. She started quoting him word for word at dinner. The 9-to-5 is a modern prison. Passive income is the only income that matters. And the one she couldn't stop repeating: poor isn't about money. It's about mentality. She said it while staring at me. At first, I thought it was just a phase, one of those internet rabbit holes. But then she quit her job at the local title office. No notice. Just came home one day and said, "They don't pay me what I'm worth. I'm not meant for wages. I'm meant for wealth." I asked her gently what her plan was. She rolled her eyes like I was the idiot. "I don't need a plan," she said. "I need leverage." From there, the shifts came fast. She started waking up at 2 p.m., claiming that early birds are broke birds. She'd stay up all night on Zoom calls with strangers shouting, "Let's go," like they just discovered gold. She made vision boards. She filled notebooks with scribbles like "buy low, brand big, and invest in assets, not emotions." I tried to keep up. I really did. I asked her about the courses she was taking, the strategies she was learning. She brushed me off every time. "You wouldn't get it, Mom. You're still trapped in a scarcity mindset." Scarcity mindset. That was her new label for me. Along with energy leech and victim of poor programming. I stopped offering advice. I stopped asking questions. I just watched as the girl I raised, the one who used to bring me tea when I worked late, who cried during Pixar movies, began to look at me like I was an obstacle, not a mother. She wasn't just chasing a dream. She was building a world where I didn't belong. At first, it was little things. Mysterious charges on my bank account. A $97 transaction to something called Freedom Pass Systems. Then another for $219 labeled Mentorship Call Tier 1. I assumed it was fraud. I called the bank, got the usual automated runaround, and filed a dispute. But when I brought it up to Emily, she didn't even flinch. She was sitting on the couch, phone in one hand, notebook in the other, the usual mess of inspirational scribbles and arrows going nowhere. I asked her calmly if she knew anything about the charges. She looked up, blinked once, and said, "Oh yeah. That was me." Like it was nothing. I stared at her. You used my card without asking? She shrugged. It's not that big of a deal. It's an investment. You'll thank me later. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told her flat out. She had 24 hours to refund every cent or I was calling the police. That was when her whole demeanor changed. She stood up, phone still in hand like it was her badge of authority, and said, You don't get it. You never did. You've been a failure your whole life, Mom. And now you're trying to drag me down with you. That hit harder than anything else ever could have. Not because it was cruel, though it was, but because she believed it. She truly believed that raising her, working 2 jobs, skipping meals so she could eat, somehow made me a loser in her eyes. I didn't even recognize her voice anymore. There was no warmth, no doubt. Just that cold conviction she got from all those late-night Zoom calls and YouTube videos telling her she was destined for more, and that everyone who couldn't keep up was dead weight. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just stood there, heart pounding in my ears, realizing that my daughter wasn't just lost, she was gone. Not forever, maybe, but for now completely consumed by something I couldn't reach through logic or love. And that was the moment I stopped trying to save her. The day I left, she didn't cry. She didn't run after me. She posted a story on Instagram with a mug that said Boss Energy standing in my kitchen, like she'd just won a custody battle over her own life. The caption read, Cutting out toxic people, even if they raised you. Scissors briefcase #level up season. That was all I needed to see. Emily thought she'd freed herself. To her, I was the anchor holding her back, the outdated software slowing her climb to millionaire status. And now that I was gone, she was ready to scale. She moved her boyfriend in that same week, Jason. Young, charming in a used car salesman kind of way. From what I could tell, he was just as deep in the illusion as she was. They called themselves a power couple in the making. She was the visionary, he was the operations guy. Every night was the same, motivational speeches on loop, whiteboards filled with nonsense like leverage equity flow and maximize personal brand reach. They talked like they were running a Fortune 500 company but couldn't explain what they actually did. And the money kept flowing. Not from profits. From desperation. Emily opened new credit cards. Jason found short-term capital lenders, which I later learned were just loan sharks wrapped in app interfaces. But they weren't worried. The mentor had promised them everything was about to change. Big deals are coming, he said. Massive partnerships. Private client work. Expansion phase. The final push came when he told his top mints they could buy into an exclusive real estate opportunity, crypto-backed land acquisition overseas. The buy-in had to be direct. No receipts. No paperwork. Just transfer to a secure wallet for faster onboarding. Emily wired over $10,000. I only knew because the transaction alert still pinged my email. An old shared device. My name. My heartbreak. And then silence. No confirmation. No response. The mentor site vanished. The mentorship Discord gone. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all deleted overnight. Every post, every live session, every fake testimonial erased like he never existed. Emily waited by her laptop for hours, refreshing tabs, reloading links, clicking broken pages with trembling hands. Nothing. I wasn't there to see her face, but I didn't need to. I knew that look, the moment when the fog lifts, but the ground beneath you is already gone. I didn't hear from her. Not a call. Not a message. Not even a desperate comment under one of my old posts. But silence has a weight. And this one felt heavy. It started when I got a DM from an old neighbor. She used to see Emily in the hallway, headphones always in, laptop always open. The message was short. Just FYI, there was a lot of yelling last night. Looked like the boyfriend's gone. Jason had packed up and left. Took his gym bag, his fake optimism, and whatever money they had left in their shared wallet. He left behind a girl drowning in overdue bills and investor invoices that never led to anything but more debt. The apartment was barely hers anymore. Rent hadn't been paid in weeks. The power company had sent 3 final notices. The fridge was empty. And all those self-help mantras about abundance mindset couldn't warm a room without electricity. She had no one to turn to. Not her old friends, she ghosted them during her rise. Not her coworkers, she'd quit before giving notice. Not her boyfriend, he was halfway gone before the door closed. And not me. Because the last time she used my name, it was to sign off on a wire transfer I never approved. She started sleeping in her car. I know because I tracked the backup phone she never returned. Parked for hours behind a strip mall. Same coordinates all night. No movement. Just a blinking dot surrounded by darkness. She charged her phone at gas stations. Bought instant noodles with coins. Washed her face in a public restroom while listening to How to Reset Your Life podcasts at 2 a.m. At some point, she tried to find me. I could see the notifications on LinkedIn, the anonymous views on my Facebook stories. She was watching, looking for a window. But I'd blocked her on everything. Not out of spite. Out of survival. Then came the real hit. She found my new profile photo. A picture someone took of me at my new job, hair brushed, wearing real earrings again, smiling beside a team of people who actually saw me. There was one photo with a cupcake that said, "Welcome back, Linda." I can only imagine how that looked to her. I hadn't just walked away. I'd rebuilt. Without her. And that more than the debt, more than the hunger, more than the empty inbox. That's what broke her. Because for the first time she saw it. I was okay. I had peace. And she had no place in it. It was late. Rain tapped steadily against the windows, the kind of quiet storm that makes the whole world feel slower, heavier. I was in the living room, the lamp on low, a book open in my lap I hadn't touched in 20 minutes. I could feel something, not fear, not anxiety, just a shift. Like the air outside had changed. And then I saw her. She was sitting on the front step. Hood up. Arms around her knees. Head down. She didn't knock. She didn't try the door. She just sat. I stood behind the curtain, barely breathing, the edge pulled back just enough for one eye to see. I didn't move. I didn't turn on the porch light. But I watched. She was soaked through. Her shoes were muddy. Her backpack, the same one I bought her in college, was wedged against the wall like she couldn't even bear to hold it anymore. For a moment, I thought I should open the door. Ask if she was hungry. Offer her a towel. Say something a mother is supposed to say when their child is shivering on the doorstep. But I didn't. Because this wasn't a punishment. It was a mirror. She wasn't sitting there because I turned her away. She was sitting there because she finally realized. I hadn't left her. She left me. Not all at once. Not with a goodbye. She left in small ways. Every time she chose ego over truth, delusion over trust, pride over love. And now, in the cold silence of a rainy night, there was nothing left between us but the truth. She looked up once, maybe wondering if I was watching. I didn't blink. I wanted her to sit with it. Not the rain. Not the cold. But the weight of knowing that some doors don't close suddenly. They just stop opening when you've slammed them too many times. She stayed for hours. And I stayed behind the curtain. Not out of hate. Not out of revenge. But because silence sometimes is the only language regret understands. The rain had stopped sometime around dawn. I could hear birds again. Distant traffic. The usual rhythm of morning that somehow felt out of place after a night like that. The curtain was still drawn, the living room still dim. And she was still there. Curled up on the step like something fragile and half-forgotten. Her hoodie clung to her skin. Her eyes were swollen. Her breath fogged in the morning air. I opened the door slowly. Not to welcome her. Not to forgive her. But because she was still there. She blinked, squinting up at me like she wasn't sure if I was real. I didn't smile. I didn't reach out. I didn't ask if she was okay. I just said, flat and quiet. You have 30 days. No lies. No laziness. No excuses. Her shoulders sank, just a little. She stood, stiff, like everything hurt. Didn't say thank you. Didn't rush inside. Just whispered. I lost everything. I nodded once. That was all. Because I wasn't here to comfort the ashes. I was here to see if she could rebuild anything from them. This wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. This was terms. This was a boundary drawn in concrete, not chalk. I let her inside, not with affection, but with expectation. No promises. No pity. No illusions. Just a mattress in the spare room. A list of job applications on the table. And a clock quietly ticking in the corner of the kitchen. She knew it too. This wasn't the end of the storm. It was the first quiet second after where you finally look around and see what's still standing. And maybe what's still possible. Emily stayed. Not because it was comfortable. Not because it was easy. But because she had nowhere else to go. And for the first time she wasn't pretending otherwise. The rules were clear. She woke up early. She applied for jobs, real ones. Not brand ambassador scams or affiliate investment pipelines, but positions that required effort, patience, and humility. I didn't check on her every hour. I didn't ask if she was okay. I let the silence do its work. There were no hugs, no late-night talks over tea, no slow-motion montages of healing. What there was a broom in her hand and dishes in the sink. There was a printed resume with creases from being held too tightly. There was sweat on her back after a shift at the local diner, and receipts from bus fare instead of Uber. She didn't ask me for money. She didn't make speeches. She just worked. And I watched. I watched not like a mother cheering from the sidelines, but like a woman who'd been burned and was now measuring every step forward with cautious eyes. She still slept with her door closed. She still flinched at unexpected sounds. But something about her had shifted, not back to who she was, but into something she might still become. We didn't talk much, but we didn't have to, because every quiet act, the folded laundry, the note she left on the fridge, the way she knocked before entering a room, said more than any apology ever could. Then one evening after dinner, she stood to clear the table. Our eyes met. Not long. Not dramatically. Just long enough. And for the first time in what felt like a lifetime, I didn't see the girl who screamed at me to disappear. I didn't see the liar or the victim or the storm. I saw my daughter. Not forgiven. Not restored. But real. And this time she didn't look away.